Hello, everyone. My name is Jordan Providence, a graduate assistant.
I'm Alexander Garces, entrepreneurial intern.
And thank you for tuning in to our special edition of the Ionavation Podcast. Today we have Joy Malone, professional photographer and professor at St. John's University. Joy Malone, how do you feel today? How did you feel after that e-talk that you gave us?
It was awesome. I really enjoyed talking about my photo journey and connecting with the students.
Okay, so for our first question that we have for you today,
Okay.
I'm not really well versed with the terminology of photography like you and Alex are, but I'd imagine that it still takes a great deal of skill to capture the lighting, the angle, the specific moment. So to me, it seems like you've mastered that art based on the photos I've seen. So my question to you is, what about the art of photography has captured you, and what has drawn you to it?
So I will say what originally hooked me was the dark room. So the dark room is it's magical. So I started photography with film. And, you go out, you shoot your roll of film, you develop your roll of film. But printing the photos in the dark room is just such a therapeutic process. You have the chemicals all out and you expose your paper. And then when you put your paper in the first chemical, you watch your image kind of come out. And it was just something about that process that really hooked me. And then also, if you receive feedback from your professors and your peers, like, oh, this is such an amazing photo. I'm like, well, I love this process and apparently I'm good at it. Win-win, I should stick with it.
So during your e-talk, what I found interesting is that you don't necessarily market yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I just assume that photographers do, freelance photographers do, to get the most amount of jobs that they can. So why don't you market yourselves? And what benefits have you seen? And typically, should freelance photographers market or not?
Okay, I would say that it's a case-by-case basis, and everyone should do what feels right to them. I don't market mainly because my calendar gets pretty full and pretty hectic. So I homeschool my daughters. Well, my oldest graduated in December, but I homeschool, so that takes a lot of my time. I run my business, and so that takes my time. I'm a professor, that takes my time. And then if my editors assign me to things, that takes time.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the time I find myself feeling a little all over the place, and I have more work than I can get completed. And so that's why I don't market myself, because I'm like, why would I ask for more? But if there is ever a point where I want to run, let's say maybe picture day, because I'll do things like pictures in the park or things like that. If I ever decide I want to run a bunch of mini sessions or things like that, I would market it. But word of mouth and things like that, and I have fairly reliable clients. So for example, I shoot the New Shelf Turkey Trot every year. I have annual events, and so yeah, I don't market because I have an abundance on my plate already, and yeah, that is the reason.
Yeah, that makes sense. And ironically enough, it actually leads into the next question that we have.
Okay.
So I would say time and task management are very important skills that every entrepreneur should have in their back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a professor, you're a photographer, and you're also a mother of two.
Mm-hmm.
So what does your work-life balance look like? Because I would assume that you have a lot of experience just managing a lot of different tasks and trying to put time into each. So what does your work-life balance look like? And what advice would you give to entrepreneurs that have trouble finding that sweet spot?
Okay. I'm too having a problem finding that sweet spot, but I would say I assess where I am fairly regularly, and I'll set new goals, or I'll say okay, this is working, this isn't working. So I I subscribe to a meal service, which delivers a bunch of like healthy dinners, and it's a variety of dinners because I find I don't have time to necessarily cook. Or I try to streamline certain areas of my life so that I get back time in other areas. I am a huge fan of Instacart because I don't have to necessarily go to the grocery store if I need other groceries or whatever. I I would say like my schedule, because I'm passionate about photography, because I'm passionate about being a professor. um I kind of just, I don't know, I feel like I'm always working. That's really what it is. I'm just always working. um but I don't mind it because the semester is only from, September to December. And then I get that break. And then it's, January to May. And then I get that break. So, I've been a professor now for 11, no, I think it's like 13 years, LinkedIn said to me the other day, which is absolutely crazy. But in the beginning, it was kind of hard to juggle, but I also had less on my plate in the beginning. So it's like, the repetition of it, as you get used to it, you understand like, okay, the fall is going to be a bit hectic and the spring is going to be a bit hectic, but it's temporary. And then I feel like other things kind of layer into it. But yeah, I'm still learning how to balance everything. Lately, I've been telling myself that I prioritize my time. So I'd rather shoot less and make more. So I've raised my rates, and when people are like, "Oh, we can't afford you," or "We can't book you," I'm okay with that because I would rather have my Saturday at home to do whatever I want with that time, whether it's grading or teaching my daughter something or whatever, taking a nap. Like, um, yeah, so that I'm still learning how to balance all of it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Naturally. It's an honest answer.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Appreciate the transparency.
And our last question, Alex.
So, unfortunately, we are at the end of our interview, and you've been such a joy. So,
Aw.
oh, is your name right?
Yeah, just I was gonna make that joke. I was gonna make that joke. Beat me to it.
So what advice do you have for young and aspiring entrepreneurs, or even new photographers?
Okay. Beyond the jobs, beyond the money, what do you want to say? Like, you have the potential to create a body of work that can touch people, that can change lives, that can educate. So, figure out those passion projects first. Figure out what genres of photography you're passionate about. Um, Definitely, as my professor said, apply for jobs in the field, work for other people, get that experience. If there's anyone's work that you really admire, reach out to them. You might be surprised that, people will respond back. Um, Develop relationships, like mentor relationships. Work hard. You cannot avoid hard work. Um, just make sure that it's a field that you're passionate about. Sort like, you know what, well, no, this is entrepreneurship, so yeah, it should be a field you're passionate about. But lately I've actually spoken to a few photographers who have told me that their work, while they created legendary images, they actually worked as like an EMT or something else. Like, you don't necessarily in photography have to make your money there to create impactful work. So it's really just a matter of like getting to know yourself and your goals, and taking the time to reassess and realign if things aren't working out. Yeah.
Spoken like someone who truly knows how to capture the moment. Unfortunately, that brings us to the end of our Ionavation podcast. Thank you, Joy. I was going to make that joke earlier, but Alex stole it from me. But it was truly a joy to have you here and engage with our beautiful Iona community. Follow us on Heinz Institute, every platform, and we'll wish you well.